something that we probably want to have a record of, especially because I think Marissa was planning to use this
Mhm.
for helping spot some patterns and write some docs and all that good stuff. Um, so let me send a quick note that we are live streaming. Um, the Gatsby team. I'm going to spell it right this time. Hacktoberfest. Okay.
Yeah, just a quick question. Will we handle only issues that are already labeled as Hacktoberfest, or?
Well, no. Well, I mean, we can. My my major thought here was that we would be best suited to try to spot issues that would be a good fit.
Mhm.
And then once we've spotted those, go back and try to write up as many as we can. I blocked out 90 minutes. Nobody is expected or required to stay here for a full 90 minutes. I just wanted to kind of keep the space open. But yeah, the more we can find, the better off we're going to be. And then Amberly and I can kind of follow up on these after the fact to add additional details.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is I'd like to I'd like to spot as many issues as possible that are good candidates for Hacktoberfest, and then just keep writing them for as long as we've got time to try to get as many as we can out into the world.
Jason, can you give me like, since I'm not a developer, maybe just like a 30-second idea of like what makes a great Hacktoberfest issue and maybe how many you're hoping to have?
Shannon, are you familiar with Hacktoberfest in general?
Yeah.
Okay, so the general idea from my standpoint is Hacktoberfest is going to be attracting probably people who aren't super familiar with Gatsby,
Mm-hmm.
which means that the ideal issues would be like self-contained. So a good one, for example, would be like what like
I would say like add this feature that doesn't require like insight into 30 different pieces of Gatsby. It's like self-contained, self-encapsulated, or like a docs PR, or things that don't require a ton of context to figure out.
Okay, Kyle's here.
I guess yeah.
Is
hey.
that
But yeah, so basically, what I think Dustin's got it just right. It's something that doesn't require someone to do a ton of research before they can work on. They can open the issue and in reading the issue have enough understanding to solve the problem at hand. So typically, it's going to be stuff that's small in scope and ideally only linked to one or two files. The like expanding a docs stub is a really good example. Or like if we've got something that we wanted to do, like, hey, let's find all usage of yarn in the docs and convert it to npm. That's an excellent Hacktoberfest issue because it's something that we need to do. It doesn't require any special knowledge of Gatsby. It just requires doing the work. So if we've got issues like that, those would be great to pull out. So does that issue exist actually? And maybe we should talk about whether or not that's an issue that we want to exist, because there's been some complaints about consistency.
Yeah, there's been plenty of issues that have come up, and they always lead into some kind of squirrely discussion where we don't decide anything.
Mm-hmm.
So there hasn't been a solid decision that I remember anyway.
So is that worth just kind of making it? We've got probably the people who would make that decision in the room right now. So does it make sense to standardize on a single package manager in the docs?
Yeah, so for I think for most of the documentation we want npm, where when someone is using Gatsby, we only want yarn for like contributing to Gatsby repository because we use Yarn workspaces and stuff like that. So npm doesn't really work for that.
Okay. So find all instances of Yarn and change to npm.
Okay.
Is there any? So outside of contributing docs, is there any places?
I don't know, but it's worth taking a look because that confused Sia, and so at the very least we can write up an explanation of why.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I was just thinking too. It's like it'd be cool to make issues for all the sub articles.
Yes.
So actually, there is an issue already called the content migration, which is it's A103, and it has a checklist of all the stub articles and also other articles that could be stub articles that we already have like content for. And I've been just like slowly chipping away at it, but there's like 60 docs that people could create.
Yeah.
And the content's already there, so someone who doesn't really know anything about Gatsby can still at least come up with like drafts of the articles.
Okay, yeah. So is that it's reach? I guess is that drafted, or is it tagged with or labeled with your first issue?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of interesting. I wonder, now I'm trying to remember the root of why people get confused about Yarn and NPM, because if it's not in the docs, like Justin said, like, why is it confused about it?
Yeah, so I just checked, and we use Yarn is used only in some blog posts and how to contribute page right now.
Okay, so then we should change this to be just the write an explanation of why we use Yarn, which then kind of makes it not a good first issue because now it needs context. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna go find that content migration issue and label it with So if we label something with Hacktoberfest, should we take off the good first issue label or just?
No, it can be both.
Okay. Oh, that one's already labeled with Hacktoberfest. Okay.
I found yesterday. I found everything labeled with good first issue and labeled it Hacktoberfest. I did zero cleanup of those issues, so I have no idea if they're actually good ones. But yeah, okay. So, do we want to create issues for all the stubs? Are there any like code cleanup things or like small things that have been outstanding that are like low effort but would be great to have that just haven't been prioritized?
I think that a copy and paste button on all code snippets would be.
Oh, that's a good one.
Great.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if that's very self-contained, but it seems like it could be.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a Gatsby remark plugin, and the only hard thing there is I think order might matter, or you have to do it in like the Gatsby remark Prism JS plugin itself. But either way, it's definitely doable.
Okay. Let me find that issue and make sure it's. Also, I don't know if the.
Is there already a copy paste button? There is. Okay. So I don't need to create this issue then. It's issue 5030.
Well, let me just double check, but I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, I think someone created it. Yep, you did.
Yeah, it's here. Let me. I'm just gonna write this as a good first issue, and we'll see if anybody picks it up. Shannon, if you want to. I don't know that we need any more context on this. This looks pretty solid.
Well, so do we want like technical context? Because like one of us can like comment like, the general idea, what is you'd add this plugin to the packages directory.
That would be wonderful actually if we wanted to do that. So let me take.
Because it's kind of related to what we were talking about, whether there's like an issue template or something. And I don't have an opinion on that too much, but the like technical ones, the more detail we can provide, I think the more likely someone picks it up, because
Okay.
there's like a, I mean, granted, someone could pick this up, you know, who's pretty familiar, but like the less learning curve there is, the better.
Would it make sense for me to add like the ink team to review to these Hacktoberfest issues, and then we can just do a filter for ink team to review and Hacktoberfest and add context as necessary?
Sure. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. So that'll be our workflow for this, and then just remove that once you've had a chance to write it up. Cool. So I don't, yeah, I mean, I'd love to. That's probably bigger than a first issue, right? Doing a starter and documentation for source plugins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably too big. I'm not sure. Does it make sense to have me leading this? Like, would it make more sense to have Shannon or Mikhail or Dustin?
Well, I think we should go through ones that have good first issue Hacktoberfest label and see if they are actually eligible for this label, because there is like enable split chunk plugin in development. Seems like it's not really a good first issue.
Which one?
Issue 8342. I think it's pretty involved actually.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we should probably just remove it then. Okay. Let's see. Does this Gatsby plugin catch links? Does that seem like something that can be done?
Yeah, also a bunch of those already have open pull requests. I think this one actually have one. But
okay.
So yeah, this is valid. It's just it's already being worked on.
Okay. So should we? How do we? I wish there was a way to like easily show that something's been worked on. The content digest helper, that one's already underway. I saw the PR for that. Add a script to find Gatsby plugins.
Yeah, there should be already also linked PR to that.
Okay, so there is. Is it? Yeah, okay, so this just needs to be worked on then?
Yeah, probably it can actually just merge. Let's see. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Let's not review this right now.
Yeah, and it seems like there's maybe a little more going on to that than I'm capable of doing. Let's see. So then we've got option to include routes. I don't have enough context on. Do you know anything about this one?
Yeah, I know, and there is open PR for it.
There is an open PR for it. Okay. Doesn't redirect in the browser on the initial render. That one seems like it might be a little more advanced or involved than a good first issue. I guess first thing we should check is whether or not there's a PR. Okay, I don't see it.
Yeah, it potentially also could be fixed already.
Okay, so should
No, we need to check it. I just labeled this as linked into reviews, so we can get back to it after the meeting.
Okay. Typical directory structure. That one to me does seem like a good first issue. Cypress
Was
tests.
that not done in a different issue?
I have no idea.
I feel like that's been done. And it's also what we wrote up for the default starter. Was going to get repo.
Yeah, I think that PR above got merged maybe. 8405.
Yeah, so this, as soon as we get this issue in a place in the hierarchy.
Is it linked in the sidebar? Maybe it's not actually linked in the docs sidebar.
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so that looks cool. And then the docs sidebar, I can never find this file. Where is it? It's in www data.
Yeah, it's called doc-links. I can't even remember what it is too. At www/source or /data.
And now I forgot what that was. It structure? Yeah, I don't think it's actually linked. So then it looks like what we would need to do is, where was it? Yeah, Gatsby folder structure. So this just needs to get added to the sidebar. Should we create a new issue for that, or? Any opinions?
For adding it to the sidebar.
Yeah, because that would be a pretty simple.
Well, I mean, assuming that we'd like decide where it should go, because I don't think that's in the realm of someone with no context just deciding where it should go on the sidebar. I think the point is we need to decide where it makes sense, but we could make it an issue for someone to add where we want it to go.
Hey, which doc are you guys talking about?
The Gatsby project structure.
Gatsby folder structure.md.
Oh, I just barely was looking at that, and it's supposed to be under the conceptual guide. That PR already got merged to place it there. Is it not showing up there? Because someone already wrote it, and then
Under the conceptual guide.
yep, that's right there.
But is this different from the? Okay, so this is a duplicate then, because that doc was called folder structure.
Oh.
Or what could also be the case is that the commit that got added here
Just moved over.
got moved. So let's go to master, and it might not exist. It doesn't. Okay, so then it sounds like this is handled, and we just need to close it. Is actually what's going on.
I just closed it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I closed it and connected the PR too, which I should have done originally. I don't know why I forgot to do that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So Cypress tests. I feel like Cypress tests are a good one, but I don't know how.
So they are a good one, but that one's kind of hard. At least the plugin offline one is hard.
Okay.
But yeah, adding for the built site is pretty doable. We have that infrastructure all set up. You just need to like slightly change some scripts and some tests and stuff. So the first part of this is good.
Okay. Is there? Okay, I'm just gonna add a label to have you review it, and if you can just kind of add that out, or I guess David's already on it, so maybe it doesn't need to be.
He's working on the offline stuff. I think. I don't know if he's touched the built site stuff.
Okay. move official starters into the mono repo. This is pretty manageable, I think.
Well, this involves couple of things because we need starters to be in their own repo. So Gatsby new works. So this would need to have like this creating clones or something like that. So we keep like starters like source code in repo, and on every commit it would like move changes to their own repo. So probably not good first issue.
Okay, so I'm just gonna remove the labels then because that seems like a big one. So let's go back. Starter download analytics. Is this something that we can actually have someone create? I don't know. Let's see. Gatsby CLI. Oh, this is a lot. Helper functions passed to the Gatsby node APIs. This one I think would be super useful because there's nowhere in our docs where I can just get a list of what the actual arguments are in the API functions, and that like regularly drives me crazy. Do we have? Is somebody doing it?
Yeah, they are mentioned here or there and there, but we don't have like one place when people could check those out.
Okay. So this one seems good then, because it looks like in the context of this issue, there are links to all the places where they are, and we just need someone to write it down. In from my standpoint, what I'd love to see is every single API doc would just show what the arguments are. And if the arguments, I think the arguments are exactly the same, then that should just change. Like there should just be a section at the top of the API docs that lists all the arguments, and then each API would link back to it. Like to me, that seems like the easiest way, because then it's all in the same doc and we can like actually understand it. But yeah, that would be, I think, good. Does that one do we need to review this one or make any changes to it?
Yeah, I don't think we need changes here.
Okay.
I think just
Remove trailing slashes. This is marked as documentation. I don't understand why this is. Okay. I don't know if this one is, I mean, it's not immediately clear to me what the action step is here. Should we do some, like, I don't know. I'm going to add a review, and we should probably figure out if that's something that we need to, like write up a different issue for, or what. Okay, so option for image quality for image sharp.
I think I actually did this, but we didn't end up merging the PR because it wasn't global enough. But it's actually a good reference one because there's like a PR that does most of this.
Okay, so then this seems like it would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we can leave this one in. Okay, so we have 18 issues. Most of them already have PRs against them, which means that we probably want to find others.
So
And
can we circle back to the docs effort for the content migration issue that Shannon put in the chat?
there's an issue in the chat. Sorry, I didn't. Oh,
Yeah. It's 81.
Because there's a lot there, and I think I'm wondering if it would make sense to turn this into like a Hacktoberfest themed docs epic. So people could feel like they're contributing to like a larger 10 out of 45 done or whatever.
yeah, this would be a really good one.
Because I'm kind of thinking about the same thing for ecosystem. So now that I'm doing like trying to plan larger for ecosystem, doing small contained features for us and that would be like the ecosystem equivalent of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, because I also have like in the store.
Exactly.
Or
So maybe
whoops.
we can look at this as like aligning our different AOR goals with how we can sort of theme efforts.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have a few over here that would be easy ones to knock out for somebody just in the store.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like they're similar ones in the ecosystem AOR. Did I just check this one? No, I
No,
didn't. Okay.
it was already.
I clicked and then I was like, oh no, did I like am I checking buttons? Okay. And so these are all wow, we have a lot.
Yeah, I would say like 2/3 of those are already stub articles, and then the other third is like it could be a stub article. We just haven't made it into a stub article yet.
Didn't I write progressive web app?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think it would make sense then to go in and just convert all of these to docs or to issues and then mark those issues as Hacktoberfest?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys think it's worth it, I'm happy to do it. It'll probably take, a good 4 hours.
Well,
Yeah, I'm happy to do it if
What's that?
I'm happy to do it if that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think like it probably would be helpful because I created this issue like I don't know a month ago, 20 days ago, and pretty much I'm the only one who's worked on it so far, even though they're like incredibly easy things to do. So maybe it's just like confusing people. Like they open it and they're like, I don't know what this is, and then they just close it or something.
I think that's probably what's happened.
yeah. This is kind of information overloady, and I think if there were individual issues with like this is the one thing that needs to be done, it feels much easier to pick it up and try. So my guess would be like converting each of these to its own issue and adding like a quick synopsis of what needs to get created would make it much easier to pick these up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that Airtable link has like a list of all these same article titles and then the content that's supposed to get put into it.
Okay.
Is that an open link though? Like,
Should be able to view it, yeah.
okay.
I've tested it in incognito windows and stuff. It's
Okay.
at least that worked. So I don't know if that's true, but and then when I created the URL, it was like anyone. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so a lot of these are actually just moving content.
Yeah, that's why they're super easy.
Okay, so I think if you
Sort of. So there was an issue, Shannon. I don't know if you remember the one of the blog posts that you moved over. That had sort of the issue of okay, if it's a direct copy, how we need to credit the author or ask for permission or whatever.
Right.
So I think for the stuff that gets pulled over, we actually need to have like a decision made about how that content gets treated.
Right.
Yeah. And then also when we're pulling sections out of like the tutorial and whatnot, are we intending to remove that section from the tutorial and link instead, or?
Yeah, there's all sorts of questions like that if we probably ought to make this into like an epic and have some of that information like clear. Because so far what Amberlight and I decided was like if the information already exists in the tutorial, we just add like a really basic example of it in the docs and then link to the tutorial so you tell someone like here's how to create links between pages. If you want to have like a step-by-step little tutorial version of this, go to the tutorial.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the recipes
where
there's like an introduction and a high level explanation like you said, and then link out to deeper and deeper, more resources of more depth.
Yeah, I mean this definitely seems like something that should be broken apart. I think we should add a little more clarity with like the copy pasting on what that means. Just to or like even like show like if we have one that's a good example, just like link to that one from all of the copy paste issues that says here's a good example of what this looks like. I think that would be awesome, because then we can get people really really set up for success there and give them an example that they can use as a template, so then they're not even forced to kind of come up with the format or really do anything other than like here's a checklist, copy paste this, add this format, add this link, and I'm done. And then they can knock 5 of these out and get their Hacktoberfest t-shirt. So that's a good way, I think, to approach these, and hopefully we can then knock these out really quickly. And there's the added bonus that now they'll get the Hacktoberfest t-shirt and they get a Gatsby t-shirt or whatever. And then we've got the tiered swag coming in. So if they do all their Hacktoberfest stuff in Gatsby, they'll also qualify for our second tier of swag, which is going to be like travel mugs and hoodies and stuff. So it has the potential to be like a pretty good swag loot for people who are who do the Hacktoberfest entirely inside of Gatsby.
The important things.
Yeah. Great. Well, yeah, this will be perfect then. Maybe.
I do think it'll take a little bit of going through for what makes sense for someone. Like, I don't think the Gatsby core philosophy makes sense for a Hacktoberfest issue, because
what
or like,
and I think that could also be what is tripping people up, is when they look at these, they see like something like this and they're like, I have no idea what that is. Maybe this issue isn't for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, actually only like 2 people have contributed to this, and both of them did not click on the Airtable link. And like when I sent it to them later, they were like, oh, that's super helpful. They just didn't read it.
Yeah, I definitely think this would be it's like for people who work in GitHub, I think just putting everything in one place is going to work better. Well, sorry, let me retract that. It's not people who work in GitHub, just in general, people will do better if the information is in one place. I would say taking the time to write these out is going to result in a much higher return on the effort.
For sure.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm totally happy to do it, and then I'll probably just need feedback on some of the, like choosing a couple examples like of how we, if the information's already in the tutorial, how do we do it? If we're pulling the information from our blog, how do we make sure to like attribute to the original person who wrote it? Yeah, because I think there's been some disagreement where I was like, I want to like attribute it to them, and Sam was like, no, we don't need to, because like they already gave it to us when they blogged about it. So I don't know. If I were the person who wrote it, I would find it very strange to find a copy of what I wrote without any mention of where it came from. But
I'm having deja vu because we've discussed this one of the issues, and I'm gonna go find it because it's driving me crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
beyond that, I think it's important to have the context of where the doc came from, because if something
Right.
had to be like the blog post will and should sort of get more out of date because we're not keeping this up to date.
yeah.
But I think it's helpful sometimes for people to be able to look at a doc and then see the context of where it came from. Like that's just
So the conclusion that we came to in the last one where this question came up is we just put it in other resources at the bottom. We just said like other resources, original blog post by this person.
Yeah.
And then we just notify the person in the PR and say, hey, we just want to make sure you know we're like using what you wrote for the blog in our docs, and we're super grateful for it, and just so they know it's there.
Yeah, I mean, even just giving him credit in the pull request, or it's like, use the excellent write up from so and so, they'll get the notification that it's there. But I mean, generally speaking, like if somebody puts content into the public internet, they're not going to be upset if they get credited for their work.
The public opposed to the private internet.
Well, right. So I mean, but what I mean is like it's not behind a paywall, or you have to log in to get it, or you have to like opt in to get the PDF. So as long as somebody's posted it publicly, then I think we want to, like, they'll be stoked that it reaches more people as long as they get credit for their work. So I think I would personally feel really weird if I found my blog post on a company's docs without attribution. But if I got attributed in their docs, I would be stoked. So to me, that I think that like, that's an N=1 study, but I would also say that that's going to be a pretty common occurrence across most content creators, is that if we use their work with attribution, they're stoked. If we use it without, it's going to feel weird.
Okay, yeah. So I can just go ahead and maybe I'll just like start on this project, but I won't go very far. I'll just like do a few things and then share it with you guys to see like, hey, is this in the right direction? And then if anybody feels like jumping in so we can split the work, that's cool too.
I'm still down to help you.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it would make a lot of sense for Amberly and Shannon to either pair up or just kind of set aside some time to sprint on that and get those issues created, and then tag me in if you need me. And then Dustin and Mikhail, maybe if you can take a look at the ones that are there and kind of think along the same lines, like, is there something like this content migration in the code base that would be, a lot of little things that have been bundled up into one big one that could potentially be broken down into a lot of small things that people could help with? Because I think that would be super beneficial.
Yeah, it would take a long time, but I think we looked at one earlier. There was like a bunch of Gatsby plugin ideas. I think Kyle wrote it, and each of those is like a really good separate issue.
Yeah, I think if we were to just look at Kyle's issue history, he has, I know for sure, at least like 4 or 5 issues that he's written that are like, this is a great idea, and it is a great idea, but it wasn't explained. So if we were to take those and explain them, then there's a much higher likelihood that we could get somebody from the community to build them. Because I think right now there's a pretty long list of like Kyle's ideas that are actionable if you know Kyle and have had that conversation, and are not otherwise. So that could actually be worthwhile, is just go back and look through Kyle's older issues and see if there are some that can be pulled out and expanded. And I can help with that as well. I think my biggest challenge right now is that like I don't have enough context in any camp other than the stuff that I directly own to really make calls on like what should be an issue versus what needs more nuance and what decisions have been made. So if there are issues that I can help with, tag me in. I am happy to do as much as I can to make that work. From the standpoint of everything else, though, I think Amberly, you're going to do ecosystem stuff, and then you'll pair with Shannon on doc stuff. Dustin, do you want to take point on this so that Mikhail can stay in the PRs?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So Mikhail, obviously, if you've got things that you want to put in, please do. But otherwise, Dustin will take point. He'll come to you for clarification. He'll come to me for an extra set of hands, and we'll just try to get as many issues as we can written up for Hacktoberfest to try to get as many people as possible.
I have a couple of issues that need to just have. I need just to provide context, and they will be good candidates for Hacktoberfest.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so that would be great. And like I said, if I can help, I want to. I guess just like point me to issues that could use expansion, and I'm happy to write those. I just have a hard time finding things in our issue queue right now because it's difficult for me to know where things stand and what's been worked on and didn't get referenced and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
We should also think of a way to surface your Hacktoberfest store issues, because someone looking in the Gatsby repo isn't going to find those.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I think there might be a way to do like label Hacktoberfest, and then org is Gatsby JS. Does that work? That only came up with Gatsby issues.
What are you trying to do right now?
I was seeing if you could do a link that would like go through all of GitHub. All GitHub, that's what I wanted. So issues, and then that gives us... Yeah, so this would show us like the store and all of that. So these are issues that are actually labeled. Unfortunately, that is not a super helpful header. I wish it would kind of show what it did, but...
and we would also want only open issues, right? On the left filter bar there is states open.
Okay, so is open gives us our 21 open issues that are currently labeled as Hacktoberfest. So ideally, if we take this link that I'll post in the chat, and I'll also post it in the Twitch chat, hooray, then this would be a good way to track all open Hacktoberfest issues in the Gatsby org, which will be good because then we can say like, take a look through this list to find issues that are useful, and then we will, I guess if you have issue, or if you fix it, we'll give you swag, and here's the Hacktoberfest stuff and support and all that, just to make it as friendly and welcoming as possible to people, and give them as much context as we can across different repos. So this also means we could go into the starter repos and anything else on the Gatsby.js org and look at just cleanup work that needs to be done. Any kind of stuff that we're doing that is potentially doable by somebody who's interested in helping, that doesn't require them to do hours and hours of research on how Gatsby works. But yeah, so that I feel like that's probably our best bet then, is to we'll get this link out, circulated as much as we can, and in terms of next steps, Amberly and Shannon are going to work on doc stuff. Amberly's going to work on ecosystem. Dustin is going to work on OSS. Mikhail, you're going to surface a couple issues, and I'm going to stand by to help however I can. Does that sound like a good, like, how to move forward here?
Yeah, sure. And also happy to, if there are any like ecosystem things that you want like backstory on, Amberly, I'm always happy to chat about those, if just in case there's anything in like, I don't know, because there's all those epics where we like organize future enhancements, and some of them might not be super well explained, so let me know if you have questions.
Yeah. So I mean, it was already on my list to go through and do like major overall planning, so yeah. I'm just gonna like incorporate this as
okay.
So I'll definitely hit you up.
Cool. I'm super excited because I really wanted to do this content migration thing as an epic anyway, but it just, for whatever reason, can't remember why we decided not to do it. I
Well,
think
we originally held off because it was going to block V2.
right, yeah. So then we were like, let's do it later. So now the timing is probably right.
Yeah, especially when we can like tie into a community event, and like I love that. I love the general approach of Hacktoberfest because they're just trying to get more people involved in open source. And so if we can like, that's our ethos too. We want more people in open source. So we're kind of able to do like a good thing with a good thing for a good reason. And that seems like, everybody wins. So let's, cool. In that case, I don't know if we're going to be able to do anything super productive while we're all like on a call together. I'm happy to jump on a follow-up call if anybody wants to like, co-captain writing these. Otherwise, I will just watch for updates, like any links to get passed to me to get written up, and I'll kind of put together some stuff to get this out into the community in general. This link, and making sure that it's easy to find these issues so that when people come in, they know what they're looking for.
So real quick, Shannon, do you still want me to do the actual work to translate that major content migration issue into sub-issues, like into something manageable?
Well, one thing that just occurred to me is we could do like part of it, like we could just maybe make like 7 to 10 issues and then see how it goes. Like if they get snatched up really fast, then we make a whole bunch more. Maybe, yeah, if you don't mind, like taking a shot at a few of them, maybe we could just split it up. Like I'll take the first 5 that are unchecked docs, and you take the next 5, or we could prioritize them differently. But
yeah, it's just already October 2nd, and I want to try to sort of do a sprint effort to get all of this done so we can complete it.
Totally, yeah.
I'm happy to have that just be what I focus on today.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because I have a few hours today to focus on that too. So
okay, cool. I just know you've been super busy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let's sync offline and figure out how to split it up.
Cool. Sounds good.
Okay.
Great. Okay. So, Mikhail, Dustin, you need anything before we just break up and start knocking these out?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And yeah, like I'm saying it again just so that you know that I'm not just saying it. Use me as a resource. I want to help. I'm just not sure how to help right now.
Thanks for being a professional cat herder.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Cool. Yeah. So let me know what I can do, and otherwise I'll leave you to it. Thanks everyone for coming in.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
See ya.
See ya. How do I leave? Oh God. End meeting.